Shalom, shalom, brothers and sisters. It's your brother Yaakov, Woodrow, James, whichever one you prefer. As long as you call me a child of the Most High. That's all I ask. Man, just here to talk to y'all one more time. Blessed to be here, happy to be here, man. Stuff is going on. This world, what they say, the world is ever changing, but you are still the same. And as it's still the same, what they say, the more things change, the more they stay the same. And I just been in a period where as though I had a lot of people reaching out to me, and it's like got kind of overwhelming. But shout outs to the brother Chosen to Be Great for his most recent video, and it definitely helped me understand a lot of what was going on. Helped me put my my finger on it because I was thinking the same things, and then when he said it, it just put it out into perspective for me. Just brought all my thoughts all together. So might put down in the link to this, so y'all can check it out. Shout outs to all my brothers that always show love and support. Shout out to my brother New Breed on vacation right now. Enjoy it, bro. Hope you're having a great time right about now. Shout out to my brother Martin Messenger. Shout out to my brother G Dash the Prophet. Definitely appreciate y'all brothers, man. And anybody who I might have forgot about, know that it's in my head, not my heart. And everybody who comes in and turns in every week or whenever you do turn in, much love to all of y'all, and I pray that the Most High continue to give me words, the right words to say to each and every one of y'all, because I love y'all for real, and I don't never want to steer nobody wrong. Appreciate y'all taking the time to listen to a brother. But this is the words that the Most High gave me for this week, what he had me turn to, what he brought to mind when I took my pen out, my book out to study. Something I gotta let people know, man. I remember I wanted to do a whole timeline of King David, but I couldn't find it anywhere where everything was laid out. But I just need people to know, people who have been reaching out to me recently, that basically it's a time and a season for everything. And we're going to get that out the scriptures first. Ecclesiastes chapter 3, King James Version. To everything there's a season, and a time to every purpose under the heaven. A time to be born, and a time to die. A time to plant, and a time to pluck up that which is planted. A time to kill, and a time to heal. A time to break down, and a time to build up. A time to weep, and a time to laugh. A time to mourn, and a time to dance. A time to cast away stones, and a time to gather stones together. A time to embrace, and a time to refrain from embracing. Verse 6. A time to get, and a time to lose. A time to keep, and a time to cast away. A time to rend, and a time to sow. A time to keep silence, and a time to speak. That's very, very, very important. That one right there, very impactful. I remember a family member, one of my old co-workers, made a rap about all my old co-workers, and my line he said, "Wood cool, but he don't be saying S though." And at that time, it wasn't nothing to say. Now it's time to say something. So now I'm saying something. So right back to that, it said a time to rend and a time to sow. Verse 7. A time to keep silence and a time to speak. So nothing before this time. All praise to the Most High we here right now. Verse 8. A time to love and a time to hate. A time for war and a time of peace. Of war and a time of peace. So those are different times and seasons. We had to be aware of what time and season we in. Like I said, I wanted to do a timeline of the great King David, but it was a time where he was a shepherd, and then he ended up becoming a warrior, and then he became the king. So it's like in all them different times, that was the time that he was in. That was the mode that he was in. It's not always the same all the time. And people, so many times, like you see in movies, people like to typecast you. People like to put you in a box. You in one season, but they like, oh, I liked it when you was like this. Oh, I liked you when you was like this. Or you need to be doing this. You need to be doing that. So many people think they know more for what you're supposed to be doing with your life than what you do for your own self. And sometimes people might be right. Like if you're getting high or something like that, or you doing something that's destructive or something like that, then yeah, you should listen to somebody when they tell you you need to cut that out. But when you know you in tune with the Most High and you doing what he have you doing, you really don't be trying to hear that from the peanut gallery telling you what you should be doing. And the way I put it to myself, the way it came to me was like this. Like, I used to always, like, I was always like a nerd. But my friends was always in the cool crowd. So it's like some of my friends, like, they get a girl, and me being superficial the way I was back then, I'm like, yo, you that cool? And you that, all the girls on you, and that's the one you choose? Or that's who you like? Man, let me be you for one day, and I'll show you how it's done, because you ain't doing it right. Mind you, this is them. And that's who they chose, that's who they selected, that's who they feel good about. So that should be the final authority on it. You feel me? And that's how I feel now. Like, I don't care what somebody might see in me. That's beautiful. I thank you for saying it. But it's not your position to tell me, oh, you need to be doing this. Oh, you got to do this. Like, oh, that's cool what you doing and all, but I know you need to be doing this. And talking about, Lord, let them hear from you. Lord, let them hear this and hear that. Lord, talk to me every day through these scriptures. So if what you saying ain't lining up with them scriptures, that ain't him talking. Well, ain't my Lord. I don't know what Lord you ascribe to, but I ascribe to the Lord of the scriptures, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And he ain't talking about what you be talking about to me. And you know who you are. Not even just one person, like in general. Y'all know who y'all are. So with that being said, let's get into these scriptures for this week. A lot of treacherous times that we living in, a lot of crazy stuff going on. So this is just a word of caution. That was a preface. That was a whole nother issue. I wanted to wait till next week and do a whole nother one on that, but we just gonna do it like this. This is what we getting into this week, man. Just be careful out there. Be vigilant. Be watchful. Because the times are evil. Redeeming the times because the days are evil. I think we talked about that last week when we saluted the brother Takeoff, a week before last. But this week, we got another reminder with the situation that's going on. Y'all watch the news. Y'all got social media. If y'all see me on here, then y'all got some type of media that y'all know what's going on. There's no need for me to go into detail, but y'all know what's going on. And this is for each and every one of us a reminder to beware of who we surround ourselves with and who we let into our circles or what circles we go to and join ourselves to. So check these out. This is Micah chapter 7 verses 1 through 7 in the King James. Woe is me, for I am as when they have gathered the summer fruits, as grape gleanings of the vintage. There is no cluster to eat. My soul desired the first ripe fruit. Verse 2. The good man is perished out of the earth, and there is none upright among men. They all lie in wait for blood. They hunt every man his brother with a net or a trap. Verse 3. That they may do evil with both hands earnestly. The prince asketh, and the judge asketh for a reward. And the great man, he uttereth his mischievous desire, so that they wrap it up. Verse 4. The best of them is as a briar. The most upright is sharper than a thorn hedge. The day of thy watchman and thy visitation cometh. Now shall be their perplexity. Verse 5. This is important. Trust ye not in a friend. Put not confidence in a guide. Keep the doors of thy mouth from her that lieth in thy bosom. Verse 6. For the son dishonoreth the father. The daughter rises up against her mother. The daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. A man's enemy are those men of his own house. Verse 7. Therefore I will look to YAH, the Lord. I will wait for the mighty one, or God of my salvation. My Elohim will hear me. Now let's get that out of the contemporary English version so we make sure we got it. Verse 1. I feel so empty inside, like someone starving for grapes or figs after the vines and trees have all been picked clean. Notice a lot of good people have been leaving here. It's verse 2. No one is loyal to Elohim. No one does right. Everyone is brutal. Like what happened to that story that we talking about, that sister over there and went all the way out of another country with people that she thought was her friends and found out the hard way that they wasn't. But going back to the scriptures, and eager to deceive everyone else. What it said, no one is loyal to Elohim. No one does right, and eager to deceive everyone else. That's the time we on right now. Verse 3, not me, by us, but that's the time people are on. Verse 3, people cooperate to commit crimes. But if you're a child of the Most High, you don't have to worry about that, because Isaiah 8 and 10 say, take counsel together and it shall come to naught. Speak the word or put your whole plan together and it will not stand. For Emmanuel, the Most High, is with us. So if you one of his, then you don't got that to worry about, but it don't mean that they ain't trying. Judges and leaders demand bribes, and the rulers cheat in court. Verse 4, the most honest of them is worse than a thorn patch, so they most honest of them is dangerous, sticky. Watch them. Your doom has come. Look out, sound the warning. That's what we here to do, sound the warning. And everyone panics. Don't trust anyone, not even your best friend. And be careful what you say to the one you love. King James Version says, the one who lies in your bosom. That made me think of pillow talking, so gotta be even careful with that, brothers and sisters. Verse 6, sons refuse to respect their own fathers. Daughters rebel against their own mothers. And the daughters-in-law despise their mothers-in-law. Your family is now your enemy. And that sounds like the story I'm not even going to say, but hey, if you know, you know. The brother, amen. Verse 7, but I trust in Yah Elohim, the Lord God, to save me, and I will wait for him to answer my prayer. And the verses that come after that, verses 8 through 10, are some of my favorites in the whole Bible, but we'll read them on another week when we talking about something else. We just stick to that. Micah chapter 7, verses 1 through 7, we have just read. And those verses speak on treacherous times that mirror the days we living in now. You know, treachery and betrayal are at an all-time high, you know. Well, all time for this generation. It probably was like this at another time in another generation. It had to be like this when these scriptures were written. But just the one thing about betrayal to keep in mind is that it never comes from your enemies. Betrayal, in order for somebody to betray you, they had to at some point be close to you. I'm an old school wrestling fan. Like, I really don't get into the new stuff so much. Even though I did enjoy what I saw the other day, like on accident on the Humble, but I don't really follow it like I used to. I used to go every time, buy tickets, and had to be there and stuff like that. But now they be having all them imagery on them screens and stuff like that, and crazy stuff, and people walking up to you doing crazy hand signs and want to join their hand with charms and stuff like that. With the Bible say, don't hand join the hand, the wicked shall not be unpunished. I ain't trying to join myself to not lay hands on no man suddenly. It got a little too aggressive for me last time I went, so I don't really go now. But the old school wrestling, it was a guy by the name of Thunderbolt Patterson, and he was tag team partners with Ole Anderson. And Ole Anderson and his nephew, I think it was, Arn Anderson, ended up jumping Thunderbolt Patterson. Thunderbolt Patterson's a brother. And he used to, man, his talk, his rap, his on the mic skills was unmatched. Like a lot of the other wrestlers after him started taking some of his lines and started taking some of his approach and stuff. But the one thing he said in the interview after he got jumped that sticks with me, he was like, can't nobody hurt you except the ones you let get close enough to you to hurt you. So like we said, betrayal don't necessarily come from your enemies. Nobody can hurt you except for the ones that you let get close enough to you to do so. Other people can say stuff or whatever, or they could try, but they always gonna be from a distance. They can do their little hating from the sidelines or whatever, but the ones that's close to you, and that's what I warn people that's close to me. I warn them every time, and at some point it's gonna be no more warning. It's just gonna be cut off. What the girl Humpback Chunk used to say, cut off. Because like if somebody say something and you took every precaution that you won't hear what these people say, you don't follow them on any form of social media, they block on your phone, so you don't know what they saying. They can say whatever they want, you don't know. But if somebody that call themselves your friend feel the need to bring it to you, that's not a friend. And a person like that, like what, shout out once again to the brother New Breed, what he say, if somebody shot at me with an arrow and they miss, why you think you're a friend if you pick up the arrow and stab me with it when you get close to me? You feel me? If somebody says something out there, that's their business. What Joe Osteen says, it's none of my business what people think of me. Shout out to brother Joe too, man. People think he misunderstood. I like him. I wouldn't necessarily say he's gonna break down no scriptures, but I would definitely say he's like a life coach and advice he's given to help me through a lot of rough times. So I like brother Joe. But hey, back to this lesson. It's like not saying everybody's bad. Don't get me wrong. The scriptures say we gonna get into the scriptures that talk about that real soon. But everybody's not bad. But if you're gonna call somebody your friend or you gonna Be with somebody in the trenches. Make sure that it's somebody that's proved themselves before you get to bragging on them and embarrass yourself. Or worse than embarrassing yourself. It could be life or death for real. Let's get into this right here. This is Sirach or Ecclesiasticus chapter 6 verse 7. It says, if thou wouldest get a friend, prove or test him first, and be not hasty to credit him. For some man is a friend for his own occasion, and he will not abide with thee in the day of thy trouble. Good News Translation. When you make friends, don't be too quick to trust them. Make sure that they have proved themselves. Some people will be your friends only when it is convenient for them, but they won't stand by you in trouble. Verse 9. Others will fall out with you over some argument and embarrass you by letting everyone know about it. Verses 10 and 11. Others will sit at your table as long as things are going well. They will stick to you like your shadow and give orders to your servants, but they will not stand by you in trouble. Verse 12. If your situation takes a turn for the worse, they will turn against you, and you won't be able to find them anywhere. Verse 13, the most important one. Stay away from your enemies and be on guard against your friends. Basically, watch everybody. This is Sirach Ecclesiasticus chapter 37, verses 7 through 9. Caution in taking advice. Verse 7. Anyone can give advice, but some people do so only in their own interest. This is the Good News Translation we're reading from. Verse 8. Be careful when somebody offers you advice. Find out first what his interest in the matter is, because you could be sure he is thinking primarily of himself. That's what I feel about a lot of phone calls and opportunities that have been springing my way. I already tried one opportunity and I'm still reaping the benefits, and not in a good way, from that opportunity. I mean, it can be fixed, but if it's not fixed really soon, then it's going to be some drastic measures taken on that. Made up my mind of that. Know that. This is, let's get verse 8 again. Be careful when somebody offers you advice. Find out first what his interest in the matter is, because you can be sure he is thinking primarily of himself. Why should he come out on top instead of you? Greek, he may use his influence against you. Verse 9, he will assure you that things look good. Ain't that the truth? And then stand back to watch what happens to you. A lot of people out there will do exactly that. So, with that being said, let's get into this, and then we're going to be good for the week. This is Psalms 12. The whole thing. Help, YAH, for the godly man ceaseth, for the faithful fail from among the children of men. Verse 2. They speak vanity, everyone with his neighbor. With flattering lips and with a double heart do they speak. YAH shall cut off all flattering lips, and he the tongue that speaketh proud things. Who have said, with our tongue we will prevail. Our lips are our own. Who is Lord over us? Or who gonna check us? That's what people say, how they feel. For the oppression of the poor, for the sighing of the needy, now will I arise, saith YAH. I will set him in safety from him that puffeth at him. Remember that from Psalm 37. The words of YAH are pure words, as silver tried in a furnace of earth, purified 7 times. Thou shalt keep them, O YAH. Thou shalt preserve them from this generation forever. But know this, verse 8. The wicked walk on every side when the vilest are exalted. As long as people keep exalting the ones doing wrong, the wicked feel bold to walk around how they walking around and doing what they doing. Let's get it from the New Living Translation. Help, O YAH, for the godly are fast disappearing. The faithful have vanished from the earth. Neighbors lie to each other, speaking with flattering lips and deceitful hearts. Verse 3. And keep in mind this, y'all that say, don't wish no bad on nobody. Ain't supposed to say nothing bad about nobody. Shut up. Verse 3. May YAH cut off their flattering lips and silence their boastful tongues. That's King David, a man after the Most High's own heart, and that's his wish. His mind's too. Verse 4. They say, we will lie to our heart's content. Many lie to keep their heart's content, for real. And they still be miserable behind doors, punching the air. But in front of everybody, they look like they got it in control, got it going on. And dummies believe them. But I digress. Our lips are our own. Who can stop us? Verse 5. Yah replies, I have seen violence done to the helpless, and I have heard the groans of the poor. I'm groaning. Now I will rise up to rescue them as they have longed for me to do. Verse 6. Yah's promises are pure like silver, refined in a furnace, purified 7 times over. Verse 7. Therefore, Yah, we know you will protect the oppressed, preserving them from this lying generation. Even though, verse 8, the wicked strut about and evil is praised throughout the land. And that's the truth right there, because don't matter about hook or by crook, how you got rich or how you got clout or popular or whatever, if you got it, people is going to ride with you and say you right. Like, I done seen people tell stories of how they got cheated out of money or got signed to bad contracts, and the first thing that the general public do, oh, I should have read his contract. Oh, I should have known better than that. No, man. What about stop tricking people? What about stop offering people bad contracts? What about promoting that? But the one that's winning, the one that's got the money, the one that's on top, the one that's got the clout, that's the one that people will ride with and side with. King David said it even back in the Bible days. They said, men will praise thee when thou doest well for thyself. Like, they don't question how. That's Psalm 49 and 18. But knowing that and knowing all these things that we just read, it's high time, man, to get right with the Heavenly Father and to be watchful and vigilant, because the days are evil. Walk ye therefore circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise, redeeming or making the most of the time, because these are evil days. So knowing that, man, watch your backs, fronts, sides to sides, all that, and then get in touch and get in tune with the Heavenly Father so he can watch from above and watch from all angles, and you'll be good, like Psalm 91 said. But definitely that time, man. Don't delay. Don't waste no time getting right with him, because it's crazy. It's a jungle out here right about now. And got a feeling it's going to get worse before it get better. But much love to everybody. Shalom. And most high willing, we'll get together again real soon. We're a little long today, but we ain't half hour long. So, cut it right here. And hopefully and prayerfully y'all be able to follow it. Much love to each and every one of y'all. Shalom, shalom.